This is Angelo Pizzullo, manager of the Oral History Program with the Battleship New Jersey in Camden, New Jersey. Today is Thursday, July 26, 2018. We are on board the Battleship New Jersey, and our interview guest is Louis Patane from Bronx, New York. Mr. Patane served on the USS New Jersey during the Vietnam Commission and worked in radio communications. Welcome home, Mr. Patane.
Thank you very much.
And what is your current age?
My current age is 72.
All right. And when did you enlist?
I enlisted in 1966. March of 1966.
And what was your inspiration for joining the Navy?
I always wanted to be in the Navy, even as a young child. I think it was the Evan Costello movies that I used to watch.
All right. Now, what was the process of joining the Navy?
What was the process of joining the Navy?
Yeah.
Initially, I was drafted on 1965, December 31st, and I was able to get that deferred so that I could join the Navy. So I went to the Navy recruiter in the neighborhood, took a test, passed the test, qualified for radio, and I had a deal with the commander in New York at 42nd Street. If I can get into the Navy by March 17th of that year, it was all set. P.S. March 17th, I was in the Great Lakes.
Great. That was my next question. Where did you go to boot camp? Now, are there any stories you'd like to share about your boot camp experience?
Oh, no. Boot camp is a really interesting thing. You learn to live with other people, regardless of what. You know, they make it so your best friend is the guy that's standing next to you, and there's a lot to swallow when you used to going into a men's room and shutting a door.
Now, did you go to any of the A school?
I went to basic radioing school.
Okay, and where was that?
Bainbridge, Maryland.
Any stories from that school?
No, not really. That was really cut and dry. You get, pass the test, do the Morse code, get yourself going, and then right after that, I was just, believe it or not, I was assigned to an Air Force base, McGuire Air Force Base, and I was in a VR squadron as a regiment, and that was in Fort Dix.
Okay.
For anybody who doesn't know where McGuire Air Force Base is. And from there, I applied for radio school, and I went through Bainbridge, Maryland for radio school, and right after that, it was on to New Jersey.
All right. Now, when did you find out you were first being assigned to USS New Jersey?
We first found out is when we finished radio school and we were all waiting for our orders, and that's when I found out we were going on to New Jersey, and I went out to San Diego for battleship training. All
right. What was your reaction when you saw those orders?
Oh, we considered that to be choice duty. At least my father used to say it was choice duty. You're on the biggest ship around, and it's true. And it was what you made of it, but great ship.
Now, you said you picked her up in San Diego?
Yes.
Okay, so what was your reaction when you first saw the New Jersey, like the first time?
Actually, we picked it up in Philadelphia originally. Then we were all shipped to San Diego for training, and to see it for the first time, that this huge fish ship, unbelievable. It's so overwhelming, and to people going to be on there with 1,500 other people, and that's a half-time crew.
Right. Now, were you part of the commissioning ceremony?
Yes.
Can you tell us what you remember from that event?
The commissioning ceremony? Oh,
yes.
The commissioning ceremony was, how can I say this? I mean, even my wife was there, my mother was there, my father was there. I had a few people that came. Really dynamic. It was something what are we doing? It's bands and so on. Yet there were protesters. The protesters are out outside the gate, which was trying to mess it up, but they couldn't, because I think everybody on that crew was just baffled that they were on this big ship and that we were actually going to go into battle.
Mm. Now, just not including your duty station, but just any stories you'd like to share about life on board in general, everyday living, what you went through.
Everyday living on the ship was quite normal. You had your regular work day, you had your schedule. It would be just as like you were on land and doing a regular job, and that's what we were doing, a regular job, until, of course, we had to go into some type of battle or general quarters. Then everything changes. Then becomes a military warship, and people had to respect it for that. And not bad. It was good. It was good. That's something I'll never forget.
Mm-hmm. All right. Now, where was your general quarters station?
My general quarters station was, believe it or not, I was on the inside of a wall. Okay, most of the time, and then we'd come out to relieve each other, but in the radio communications, but not in a situation where we're firing any weapons. It was strictly in the radio room and to do what had to be done to keep it going.
Now, was that the radio room behind Turret 2 or the transmitter room on Broadway?
The first one.
The radio room? Okay.
Radio room, main comm, main communications.
And when you were at general quarters, what was your expectations there as far as what you were supposed to do?
Well, all we knew is that we had to keep everything running properly so that we could converse with the other ships in the firing of the big guns, and it was remarkable, okay, that we did how it worked out. When I was in the communications room, I was the main communications supervisor. Okay, I had a lot of responsibility, and there was a lot of things going on. Okay, there was constant communications with the captain, so we had to be right on target when we did this, and we played an active role in TED. Okay, so.
Okay. Now, what were some of your watch stations?
My only watch station was my radio room.
Okay.
Yeah, as a communications supervisor or manager or whatever.
All right. So let's talk about your day-to-day operations in communications. What did that entail? As soon as you arrived, what did you do to pretty much till you left when your shift was over?
We came in for the shift to relieve the communications supervisor from the earlier shift, turning over all the important messages that had been routed, because everything had to be routed, had a routing on it, follow up on the routings, and so on for the shift prior to you. Okay, like I was on the shift when the New Jersey was turned around and asked to go back to Korea, and I happened to be on the shift on that one, and that was a tough one. But it had to be done, but we never went back. But yeah, we went over everything, just like you were turning over something if you worked in a bank or whatever. Everything that was important for the day, here they are, routed, some have to be back, some, and so on.
All right. During one of your shifts, you actually got to listen in on a special event. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, in 1968, NFL football, and then it was AFL, NFL, I think. We were able to focus in with our receiver and listen to the Jet game against the Colts in 1968. And some people weren't able to get it, but I got it all the way across the world. And we were able to tune it in, and we listened to the whole game.
Were you a Jets fan at the time?
No, I was a Giant fan,
okay.
But I wanted Baltimore to win. I like Johnny Unitas.
All right. Any ports of call stand out? What were some of the ones you went to?
Well, Japan was an entry protocol. Yokosuka, Japan. And Philippines, that was our home port, was the Philippines, along Subic Bay. Okay, that's where they had buried all the barrels and the ammunition after World War II. And we went there and they dug them up. And they dug them up and put them onto the ship. So that was Hawaii. Naturally, what can you say about Hawaii? That was a great port to pull into. We didn't stay long, but it was a nice place to pull into.
All right. And did you have a favorite of all those, and why?
I think the favorite out of it was Japan. I think Japan was the favorite. I was able to, believe it or not, I sent home a lot of different things when I was in Japan that my wife still has. So it was China and cameras. Everything was cheap. But '68, everything was cheap.
All right. Any travels through the Panama Canal?
Yes.
And what was that like?
On our way over to the Panama Canal, we just squeezed through the Panama Canal. I remember when we were going through it, we were flying with fire hoses, hosing down the side of the ship so it would slide through the canal. We had to repaint when we got back on the other side, but it was the first time a warship since World War II went through the canal. It was unbelievable. The people in Panama, they were all along the edges of the canal. So that was a great experience.
And that was, what was your port of call after the Panama Canal?
Subic Bay.
And where were you coming from?
We were coming from California, from San Diego.
Okay, before you went through the Panama Canal, where was your point of origin?
Before the Panama Canal?
Yeah.
San Diego.
Okay. All right. Did you ever cross the Equator or the Arctic-Antarctic Circle?
Both.
Okay. So you are what they call a golden shellback?
I'm a shellback, and it's the golden dragon, I think. Of course, I got it in my pocket.
Okay. Yeah, you can show it and we'll zoom in on it.
Don't worry about it. There we go.
All right. You want to hold that up? We'll zoom in
That's
on
my
it.
shellback. That's my shellback.
All right. Hold it up. Hold it up in front of your nose. That'll be easier for me to zoom in. All right. Okay.
Crossing the meridian, I don't have that card with me, but we're going to cross. It makes you a golden something. And I don't remember.
Right. Yeah. For the record, the golden shellback is both the equator and one of the timelines, the international date line. I believe.
Oh, well, yeah, I went through. That's the one.
Okay.
So I'm actually a golden shellback.
Right. Now, was that the first time you crossed the equator?
That was the first time.
And you had to go through a little ceremony. You want to talk about that?
Oh, we went through a really big ceremony. As I remember it, the night before we crossed the equator, all the polywogs who were out there, it was like having a game. You capture as many shellbacks as you could, so the pain the next day would be that much less. Okay, and it was an interesting thing because they had a royal baby's belly, which you had to stick your face and kiss. They had the royal dentist, and they spray your mouth with hot sauce. They had 2 garbage chutes that had the garbage out in the sun for probably about a week, and you had to crawl through that. Okay, and so make your faces. And what other things did we have? The Royal Undertaker, he would put you in the coffin, put you in the box. Then Neptune would come up, and the whole 9 yards. And we couldn't wait to go back again so we can get somebody else. And it was, whether you were lieutenant, commander, or whatever, you went through the same initiation, side by side. Yeah, they had take the fire hoses, 2-inch fire hoses, wet, and as you're crawling across the deck, whack. It was interesting. Interesting time. Okay.
All right. Anything else you remember from that ceremony?
No.
Okay. All right. Now, you also were present when Bob Hope hosted the USO show on Christmas Day?
Yes, I was.
What were some of your memories from that?
Very solemn. First time away from home. And he's great. He was great. I mean, and we had a lot of fun. He was very friendly with everybody. So You had Ann Mark there performing, and the Gold Diggers, who used to be Dean Martin's girls. They used to have the Dean Martin show. But it was a very solemn time. But we get through it. Let's bring a little bit home.
Mm-hmm. And where did Bob Hope show? Where did he do that show at?
He was
on the ship.
On the turret. First turret.
Mm-hmm. All right. So a little more serious. The ship was on the gun line for about 120 days. And what stood out that you can remember?
What stood out?
What stood out about being on the gun line for that time?
Being on the gun line for that time kind of made me a little hesitant to attack or whatever. When we were out there, and they were actually afraid with the Jersey out there because we were just bombarding with 16-inch shells. People say we didn't use that many. We used a lot of 16-inch shells. Okay, the 5-inch was just for anti-aircraft. I mean, a 5-inch shell for anti-aircraft is ridiculous, but we didn't have anything else but that. And the 16-inch shells we used to do a lot, more than most. Because when we brought it back out, after we were reported that the ship was hit and half the crew was lost, that was the UPI that came out. My wife has a copy of that, news article. Then we came back 30 days later and snuck into the Tonkin Gulf and threw a 9-gun salvo into the jungle, wiped out everything and anything in his way. There were airbursts, and the Marines said, "Thanks for coming back." So, yeah, I think we helped with the turning that.
Okay. Now, were there any particular events related to the firing of the 16-inch guns that you might have heard on the radio that just kind of stick out? For example, were you on the radio communications for Tiger Island? And what happened there?
I was on the radio in the main comm during Tiger Island and during TED. I was a communications supervisor. So I played an active role in what was going on. Even though I wasn't in there, I was still playing an active role from my side.
Right. Just for historical value, what was the Tiger Island incident?
The Tiger Island is when we actually, to prove a point that the New Jersey wasn't hurt, we actually sunk that island. With that, we sunk Tiger Island with a 9-gun salvo. Okay, it was just the captain. He was a very upfront guy. He was going to show everybody that we were back. They did. He did.
Now, did you ever, talking about Captain Snyder, did you ever get to meet him?
Yes, many times.
And what was that like?
Well, he was like, when we were out to sea, he was like a regular guy. He was a regular guy. Matter of fact, this ship, and probably a lot of people don't know, in the mess decks, there used to be a section where he set up a soda fountain because we were all from the East Coast and used to like 8 creams and pretzels, and he set up an actual place for us to do that, and he just wanted us to feel like we were at home, and we got to be together, so we might as well have fun doing it. And like you see the picture of him in the tub, in the swimming pool. He's a captain in the swimming pool made out of a gun bullet. So, yeah, he made it as nice and as pleasant as possible. That's all I can say. We did have problems. I'm not going to say we didn't have problems. We had racial problems, just like with all the burning of the flag, and that's when we were there. I was there, and that sparked up even at home. So it reached us, and we had some hard times until he straightened everybody out and let everybody know that we're together. This is our home. We got to protect our home, and that's it. And whether you're white, black, whatever, it kind of stopped.
All right. Now, did you ever get to enjoy the birthday cakes down there in the mess decks?
No. No, I don't. Not that I remember. There is a picture on the wall with a birthday cake, and one of the guys by the birthday cake I know. I recognized him because he was a radioman. For me personally, no.
Right. But you never had to deliver communications directly to the captain? Or did you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you routed a message, if it was top secret, you hand deliver. You know, and you hand delivered it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, not someone else.
All right. Anything else on Captain Snyder or how the ship ran under him?
Other than that he made admiral. I know he made admiral, and it's well deserved. It was well deserved. He, like I said, he was for the crew. I can tell you that he did something on the way home, and I'll share this with you. We were on the way home, and we were ordered, and I'm the one that got the communication that we had to go back to North Korea because the North Koreans shot down on a U.S. plane. There's a Pueblo thing, and he turned that ship around to go back to North Korea. Then they decided they didn't need us, and he turned that ship around to go home. And he crossed the lanes that the cargo those ships used to bring in and stuff. He crossed all those lanes, and he didn't care what they said. He promised we would be home by a certain day, and he got us there. He was the people guy. He was for the crew.
Okay. Now, were you scheduled to be part of the USS New Jersey's second deployment to Vietnam after you came back?
There wasn't any. We were the only.
Right.
When we came back, there was no other deployment. We were supposed to go back on the second deployment. That's when I guess which president was that? Nixon. They cut the budget because it was too expensive to run it, and they felt they didn't need it.
Right. So were you in the radio room when that message came down? Or how did you hear about the decommissioning?
Oh no, we hear, in radio you hear everything. You are the lifeline to the ship. Everybody would come in past our compartment to see what we were doing. Classic example, if we were shining our shoes, they would say we're going in for orange. Okay, that's how they would base what was going on. So.
Now, were you part of the crew for the decommissioning ceremony?
No.
Okay.
I was home already.
You were home already?
Yeah.
But when you got the order, what was your personal feelings? How did you feel at the moment you saw the decommissioning orders?
I didn't think it should have been decommissioned. I think they could have kept it for one more tour and really wipe it out and go for it. Okay, but I don't make the rules.
Okay. All right, so let's go back during your time on the ship. Were there any other stories, anecdotes that you would like to share during your time on the New Jersey?
No, I think that's it, basically.
All right. Now, when did you get out of the Navy?
I got fully discharged in 1972, March 17, 1972, St. Patrick's Day.
Okay. And then at this point, let's talk about your post-Navy life, your career, family. Just you could give us an overview of all of that post-Navy.
Post-Navy?
Yeah, what did you do for a living, your family, whatever you'd like to share about that.
Post-Navy. I worked in a bank. You know, I went to high school, came out of high school, did some college, worked in a bank for 10 years, got drafted. Okay, in 16, I graduated high school in 64, I got drafted in 65, pretty quick.
Right.
Okay. Back then, it was just me. I didn't have a wife or a fiance until I came back from boot camp, and then I met my wife. Okay, so second deployment, getting deployed where if I was married, we didn't get married till I came back. Okay, I felt that was important, just in case.
Right.
Things didn't work out the way they should, and I would have liked to go on a second deployment or even extend longer in the Navy, but she didn't want that. So feel sorry about that now, right, Joey?
All right. So after you get out of the Navy, what did you do as a career?
I went back to work in the bank for a while,
Mm-hmm.
and then from there, I did that for a long while, and then I went into sales, communications, sales, telephone, big pipe, during the 80s. But yeah, I was in sales, communication sales. I worked for Time Warner.
Okay. And how about family?
Family, I have my 3 children, 2 sons, and 1 younger daughter, and then we get the 5 grandchildren. So we got our hands full.
Mm-hmm.
And then, as you can see, they're here with me, so they wanted to come. They're here, and I think they learn a little bit of history.
Okay. So let's go back and talk about. This is not the first time you've been back.
Right.
Do you remember the first time you came back? What was your reaction for seeing her for the first time in so many years?
Oh, it was overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
Coming back the first time when it was so overwhelming, unbelievable. And again, when I came back, I went down to the radio room, but it wasn't like it is now. It's changed a lot in the last. I always wanted to go back, so we were in Philly, and I looked over the bridge, and I saw the ship, and I said, I'm going to go. And I did. I was by myself. And I came down to the transmit room, which wasn't the way it is now. So a lot of being restored since I was here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but overwhelming, because when I came up to Gangplank, the officer who was up there said to me, he asked me the question, what times did you were you on this ship? When did you serve on the ship? And I said, my answer was, how do you know I served on this ship? And he says, you all have the same look on your face when you come up to Gangplank. That's how I know you know. And it's true. It's just like going back to the future.
Mm-hmm. And what about this time around? This time around, you actually brought your family. How has it been?
Oh, this has been great.
Mm-hmm.
This is so much here to talk about. There's a lot of things they probably don't even know that I did. Okay, which now they know. Okay, and I think it was good, and I'm really proud that they wanted to come.
Okay. All right, so a little reflection here. What impact on your life did naval service have on you? How did becoming
A lot of discipline. Meaning a lot. This is the same thing like what happened with 9/11. Okay, I happened to be in that area in 9/11, and it's like military jumped out, because I was the one that got all our people out of office. It's like without thinking,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a scary time.
Now, were you working in the trade?
Not in the train set, on Wall Street.
Oh, you were, okay.
Which was close enough.
Mm-hmm.
It was close enough.
Okay. All right. The last question is more of a legacy question for future historians, future generations. This is more of an open-end statement. If you'd like to talk about anything, leave your legacy, sort of, just freewheel it.
I don't know. I think basically I told you everything that I can remember for what. As far as the legacy, my legacy, I think, is whatever it's going to be. When, like my dad, his legacy, he was in the Army, he was a prisoner of war in World War II. And have I followed his legacy? Fine. I'm the senior member of the family. So really, that's basically it.
Okay. Anything else?
No, I just want to thank you for the great tour, and I'm sure my family is happy with what we did, and we're going to stay a little longer if we can.
All right. In that case, we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you for your service and taking time to join us. This concludes our interview. Again, this is Angelo Pizzullo, manager of the Oral History Program on board the Battleship New Jersey in Camden, New Jersey. Today is Thursday, July 26, 2018. Our interview guest was Louis Patane from Bronx, New York. This recording and any transcripts, abstracts, or indexes made from the recordings will be stored in the Oral History Department of the Battleship New Jersey, the Library of Congress's Veterans History Project, and the New Jersey State Library System. All recordings will be made available to writers, researchers, teachers, and historians. And this is Angelo Pizzullo signing off.